Welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. Yes, it is slightly raining out. I just saw Kong, not Kong. Yeah, there's a lot of Kong in this movie, but there's no actual Kong. That's disappointing. But Godzilla, King of the Monsters, which is the next Godzilla movie following after Godzilla in 2014, then 2017's follow-up, Kong Skull Island. And then Godzilla, King of the Monsters, number 3. Number 4 comes out, I think, next year or the year after, which is Godzilla vs. Kong, which, by all means, give me that. Now, as I said before, for when we did the review of, what's it called? When I did a review for Kong Skull Island 2 years back, I said, the movie tells you all you need to know about this movie. The title. Number 1, Kong. Kong is in the movie. Number 2, Skull Island. The entire movie takes place on Skull Island. This movie is similar. It's Godzilla, King of the Monsters. You're here to see Godzilla. Godzilla is going to fight other monsters. That's all there is. Living up to, and there are other monsters in the movie. There are references to Gojira. Rodan's in the movie, part of the final confrontation between Godzilla and King Ghidorah, who is the main antagonist. And Mothra's there. There are a lot of references to Kong all through the movie. It's like Skull Island's name dropped at least 12 or 13 times. We see footage from Skull Island. We see Kong when they show a map of where all of the Titans are moving. You see Kong on the map moving toward the shore, but he never quite gets to the shore. But no Kong in this movie, unfortunately. King Kong is not there. So Godzilla gets his ass handed to him fairly often in this movie by King Ghidorah. And really, here's the thing. I went into this movie expecting to see Godzilla fight King Ghidorah. I got to see Godzilla fight King Ghidorah. You get to see humans running around a lot too, because that happens in all of these movies, because they need something to... They can't just unleash a fight night between these two monsters. There's got to be some human element of it. And I'm going to talk a lot about that, because what am I going to add to the conversation about the monster fights? The monster fights look good, the monster fights are interesting, and really, that's all anyone gives a shit about, if I'm going to be completely honest. That's what you're here for. You're here to see the monsters fight. It's like when Jurassic World came out. It could have been 2 hours of Chris Pratt reading the phone book, then he closed it and goes, and now, watch the T-Rex fight the Indominus Rex. Behold. And then that's what you're there for, and at the end of the movie, you see that. Same thing with Rogue One. You sit through 2 hours of nonsense, and at the end, and here's Darth Vader massacring a bunch of rebels. You're welcome. That's what this movie is. It's about an hour and a half of nonsense, and then you get to see the monsters fight, and that's what you're here for, to see the monsters fight. Now, a lot of the movie centers around family drama, where this woman who, in the beginning of the movie, because I had seen Godzilla 2014 once, and I didn't remember any of the characters' names from it, I seem to recall the woman, the main character in the movie. I thought that she was supposed to be a continuation of Elizabeth Olsen's character, because especially in the flashback, to Godzilla, she looks a lot like Elizabeth Olsen. Not the case, I think. I'm still not 100% certain on that. And the other character, whose actor I'm forgetting his name. And the thing is, too, all these actors, I can pick out only a few people. And Thomas Middleditch I can pick out. I can pick out, oh, fuck, what's his name? He was in Detective Pikachu. He was in Batman Begins. I can't remember his name, but I recognize him. Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. But everyone else is kind of... O'Shea Jackson Jr. This is another great movie I've seen him in recently, and he's a pretty good actor. I like him. And he looks just like his dad, too. So moving on with the family drama, there are a few things that I want to address. Number one, the movie never quite sets up that they're from Boston. The movie opens with the flashback of them. They're in San Francisco, where Godzilla attacked in the 2014 Godzilla. And apparently they did live in Boston at one point, but the movie never actually says that to you. And when the final confrontation between Ghidorah and Rodan and Godzilla and Mothra takes place in in Boston, she runs away and goes back home, but they never quite tell you before that point that her home is Boston. The Greenpeace guy who's trying to unleash the Titans to take over the world, to destroy the world, so that way it can go back to a natural order. He, what's it called? He is, he's a generic mustache twirling villain. Not much more to say about him. Who else is what else is going on in this movie? There's a twist early on. It's like, I think a lot of my problem with this movie comes down, in terms of the human aspects of it, is the characterization of certain characters. So, it's a big twist when they're at the site where Ghidorah is frozen in Antarctica. And, the main character, he goes to save his wife and daughter. And then she picks up the explosive, it sets the explosive off, so that way Ghidorah can be freed. That's a big twist. And it's only kind of surprising to the daughter. The daughter's kind of surprised, but I don't know if that's just, an intentional mislead by the director to have that there, where she's like, what's going on? But she appears surprised by it. Then she knows all along, and she knows the intricacies of the plan all along, and it's just kind of weird. I don't think that, I think, and then by the time we get to the end of the movie, where the mother's willing to sacrifice herself to, to stop Ghidorah and get Ghidorah away from Godzilla, so Godzilla can, get his shit together and kick the crap out of him. By the time that happens, you're like, it's like, does this redeem her entirely? Not at all, because it's entirely her fault from the beginning. This is her idea, and the movie makes it explicitly clear multiple times over. This was your plan. Like, yeah, you're putting the fire out, but you started the fire to begin with, so it's still kind of your fault, and you're not quite rectifying the situation. So yeah, I think that's what fundamentally my problem with the movie is, that it doesn't quite characterize the humans in a consistent way. The only person who gets any consistent characterization is the guy who wants to save Godzilla and use Godzilla to, to help humanity, and that he's the only one who gets any consistent characterization. But yeah, I am looking forward to them continuing with this, this every 2 years, let's just release a monster movie. As long as the monster fights continue to be good, interesting, and fun to watch, then by all means, release them every 2 years. I don't care, I'll watch it anyway. So, like, next year or 2 years from now, whenever Godzilla vs. Kong comes out, I'm in. It does set up Godzilla vs. Kong in a few meaningful ways. At the end of the movie ends with Godzilla killing Ghidorah, and then all of the other monsters bowing to him because he's the king, and he's the new alpha. Or he was the alpha before, but Ghidorah took over when he presumably killed Godzilla. Godzilla's back, and he does the whole, everyone bows before him, and then it goes to credits. And the credits are all how the world's reacting in this new world, which is the utopia kinda that the Doctor saw and wanted, where he wanted, monsters and to, act as protectors of the humans and things like that. But one of the things I talk about is, like, other new ones that are appearing, new Titans appearing, things happening on Skull Island, beneath Skull Island, that are, new and exciting, and then it's like grudge matches between the Titans were a thing that happened in the past. And then the last thing we see in that regard is a cave painting of a giant ape fighting Godzilla. So it's like, that's the setup for Kong, Godzilla vs. Kong. The post-credit scene is really just a setup for what they can do next, and kind of alluding to the fact that Ghidorah isn't truly dead. They can resurrect Ghidorah somehow. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic movie. It's one of those things where, like, this comes out, it's always at, like, things like this tend to have mid-range Rotten Tomato scores, mid to low. But here's the thing. It's like, I saw Geostorm, I saw Independence Day Resurgence, I saw The Fate of the Furious. I don't know what you go into these movies expecting if you're not getting, like, when I go to see a Godzilla movie, I'm going to see Godzilla fuck something up. When I go to see Independence Day, when I do my annual watch of Independence Day on Independence Day, I'm watching it because of the giant alien fights, and the dog fighting the human aircrafts against the alien ships, and when Independence Day Resurgence came out, I went in expecting to watch a lot of things blow up. The humans have a plucky defense and blow some other things up. And then when I got a giant alien queen with her own force field, I was like, even better. How can this get any better? And they delivered on it. I don't understand. What are you expecting? It's like you go to see Fate of the Furious, you're getting cars and action and somewhat of a story. You got cars, action, and somewhat of a story. It's kind of, this is the kind of thing, like, I hate saying turn your brain off and go and enjoy the movie, but this is the kind of movie that you need to turn your brain off and kind of just go and see. It's just so good, and it's entertaining to watch all the way through. So we'll wrap up there for today. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll be back next week.